Hey, Mama. Good morning. My name is Danielle. Coming to you, training session 1, Crossroads Christian Ministries, where Dr. Tabitha is our lead teacher. First of all, I'm just going to beg you all to forgive me. I am a little bit tired, and I'm striving to shake it off because I understand that I have a responsibility and an obligation, and I must do this training service. But if I'm not bubbly and all the rest of the things and antics that I normally exhibit, and just excuse me, I'm just a little tired. But what I'm going to speak to you today is regarding godly leadership. The objective of this course, because I found out a new way to do this, if you all follow me, because I really believe these are legitimate training sessions. So every time I take a module or something like that for my job, and I'm pretty sure they give you the course objective before you endeavor to take the course. And the objective is to allow you to understand the course, what you should get from the course, and how you should feel after taking the course. So, course objective. Number 1, understanding what godly leadership is. Number 2, understanding what godly leadership is not. Number 3, applications and checklist of a godly leader and kingdom living. And number 4 will be my conclusion. Godly leadership, what is it? And I inspire you all to write this down. The influence of God to his people to take them, their organization, or their processes from one place to another to fulfill their designated purpose according to his will. That is what godly leadership is. Meaning, whatever God tells you, however God tells you to do it, you take that in, you obey it, and it should take you and your organization or your process or whatever you're over from the place that you are in right now to the place where your designated purpose can be fulfilled. That is what godly leadership is, according to his will. Now, a lot of these things we have to put emphasis on because we don't want to be confused. We don't want to seem as though we don't know what we're doing or what we're talking about. A lot of times we get off in doing things and it's not necessarily God's will. So we have to emphasize that it's a godly influence, not influence of your own, not influence from your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother, your cat, your dog, but God. And the end result will be you fulfilling your designated purpose according to the will of God for your life. The influence is equivalent to a skill set or ability that is recognized and is used in all areas of life. It's for the productivity and advancement, of kingdom. So what you have to do now is take the leadership, take the influence, take everything that God has given unto you and not just apply it whenever you want to, not just apply it to certain areas, but this has to be applied to every area of your life. Why? Because it established the discipline that it takes in order for you to become a godly leader. You have to mix that now. After all that, you have to mix it with kingdom faith, hope, love, and features. So after you've realized your skill set, after you've realized your abilities, and you understand that these are the things that's going to forward you or advance you, you have to mix that now with faith, hope, and love, and not just the regular stuff that we dibble and dabble in every day, but it has to be kingdom, faith, hope, and love. Meaning despite adversity, despite ups, downs, circumstances, I will remain steadfast and firm in this. And features. Let me tell you what kingdom features are. It's just having a single eye and a single ear, which leads to the mind of Christ. To see and hear what God is saying, and it's free of any interferences from any outside or adverse things that come to take our focus. Characteristics of godly leadership. Where do we start? So we start with realization and awakening. Understanding who I am, and where I am going. This takes self-examination from a realistic approach. Meaning truth and honesty. Not what I think, not what I appear to be, but what actually is. Taking an in-depth look at myself and truth and in honesty. Because being godly and also being in leadership is a called position. That's not someplace you could just place yourself. You literally have to be called by God in order to fulfill this task and fulfill this position. And the first responsibility isn't to whom you are over, but it is to yourself. It's to me. And it is in our ability to face facts and absolute truth. I have a responsibility to myself. You have a responsibility to yourself to face facts and absolute truth about yourself. Where I am versus where I am not. And then after understand, I have to go onward to where I need to be. Example of that, right now, if you introspectively go in your thoughts, in your minds, in your behaviors, what you've done, what you've accomplished, what you have not, you understand that either A, you're in consecration. So, okay, you understand, well, I am in consecration. Maybe I'm not in a place where I can hear God totally, but I have started a place of consecration where I need to be is in total consecration. So what I need to do is separate myself from whatever is keeping me out of complete consecration. For me personally, I know I have a call. I know I have a position in God. I do have fears. So where I'm at now is a place of fear. Even though I understand that I have a call, what I need to be now is outside of fear, doing what I need, doing what it takes to get me outside of that so I can fully now comprehend who I am, realize who I am, awaken what's within me so I can go forward and do what God has called me to be. You can do it for yourself as well. I don't know where you are, where you need to be, but I know what we all need to do is be moving forward. After that, it's a cleansing and a detoxification. At any time, you all can stop me and ask questions. So I understand that you are getting an understanding or say whatever you need to say. Second part, cleansing and detoxification. Because after we get a clarity from realization and awakening, we need to clarify. And whenever you clarify something, that means that you remove any debris, any dust, any dirt, any misunderstanding, and you can now be clean and you're suitable now to start. You have a clean foundation or a clean platform to start what you need to do in truth. And this comes through repentance and forgiveness. At this time, it's a consecrated time of a system reboot and God knowledge downloads. So we know we have this ability. We know we have this skill set. And now we have to group that with, I have people under me that I have to lead, even if it's just my children, if it's my employees, if it's myself, if it's my church group, if it's my friends. You know, I have these people now that I have to exhibit certain behaviors in front of. So God will get you in a place, if you allow him, of consecration, and he will then download into you what it's going to take now to move you and your crew to the place where he needs you to go. And I will tell you in detail as we go on. And we end that all with determination. So after we have come to the realization and awakening, after we have clarified and we have detoxed, we have to now conclude it with determination. Determination is equivalent to a made-up mind. It's solidified in the concept that I have to get this done. I've been called to this, and I've now been given the opportunity to experience purpose. And I believe if we look at it like that, then it'll always keep our heart now in a fixed position that I don't have to repeat steps 1, 2 to get to 3. Because oftentimes what we do is we go through so many times of a realization process, an awakening process, and cleansing and detoxification. But if we stay determined that now we are granted this opportunity to understand what purpose is, to fulfill purpose, to experience purpose, then it'll keep us from cycling. Because kingdom is not about cycling. Kingdom is about moving forward. Godly leadership is not about cycling. It's about moving forward. This keeps us from doing the steps multiple times. Through this journey, though, I have to admit, it may seem as though we have to question the process. But if we refer back to the objectives and the features, it will limit our stagnation. It will limit the cycling process. Now I have to tell you what godly leadership is not. Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns? Because I am almost done. Okay, godly leadership is not, I repeat, is not immoral. It's not manipulative, nor any other characteristics outside of the nature of God. If you are the leader of something and you exhibit any of one of these qualities, then it's not godly leadership that you're exhibiting. It isn't negatively influenced, nor does it have negative intentions or purposes. Godly influence does not discriminate, nor is it self-serving. All of these things lead to mission failure. It does not accomplish kingdom, and it does not allow you to get to your designated purpose or allow you to lead a team to their designated purpose with you being the head. Underneath the understanding that you have a responsibility to God for your calling, it must also be understood that you now have others whom are in your employ. Whether you're paying them or not, if you have a group underneath you, then they are in your employ. You must realize that everything you exhibit will be monitored and reenacted by these people. Have you ever heard, and I get it often, and it may not be how she feels right now because we got in a little squabble this morning, but I get all the time, girl, you act just like your mama. Oh, girl, you look just like your mama. Have you ever observed somebody in action and then you knowing who they may be related to, or you knowing somebody that they're close to, you think about that person and you now associate that person with that person? It's because you're being monitored, and whatever you're putting out is going to be reenacted to these people or by these people that you're over. And that's why your children act the way they do. That's maybe why your spouse acts the way they do. And I'll even go so far as to say that's why your pets act the way they do too. Because some pets, I be on Instagram, I be like, that dog sure look like his owner. Or that owner sure look like his pet. Because they even begin to look like you because you have such an influence on these people. They catch the vibe and then they go with it. So we have to understand that now it's our goal, it should be our intentions and our responsibility to vibrate at the highest frequency that we possibly can in leadership. Application of godly leadership. And I'm going to now iterate the steps that God is going to take us through and the steps that he has given us in order for us to now exemplify, in order for us to apply godly leadership. And we don't even have to make it up because I got it from 1 Corinthians 16, 13 through 14, and I am reading from the NIV. So after realization and cleansing, we must be determined to 1, be on guard. 2, stand firm in the faith. 3, be courageous and strong. 4, do everything in love. It says, be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be courageous, be strong, do everything in love. A breakdown of that, number 1, whenever he tells us to be on your guard, he's simply telling us to be alert and mindful. Praying without ceasing goes hand in hand with this because we have to understand that the wicked one is always roaming and always seeking. The only way he can be defeated is to recognize that he is recognized. And how he understands that we recognize him is through our submission to God. Prayer gives us access to submission. The Word of God tells us that we have to resist his advances. And his advances only come to steal our focus. Only come to take us out of the place in our mind frame that we understand we have an opportunity at purpose. A key point of that, and I need you all to highlight this, I need you all to be very, very mindful of this. I need you to repeat this to yourself every single day. I must remain spiritual. I must remain spiritual, because if we, at any opportunity, any chance that is given to us, go into carnality, we'll never see the difference between the enemy and his work and God and his work. Spirituality sets the standard, and it creates the divide between God and his work and Satan and his work. So you could be actually doing the acts of Satan and think that you are doing the acts of God, because you are outside of the spirit realm. Anytime we step off into carnality, then we become confused. Number 2, whenever it tells us to stand firm in the faith, it means when you hear a word and you know without a doubt or a question it is God, stand on that. We can't waver, we can't move, we can't deviate. We have to understand that we have to stand on that. The word says the faith. So we're not just talking about faith to sit down in this chair because we understand it's going to hold us. Faith that it's going to take to start our car, understanding that if we start our car will move. But it's kingdom faith, meaning whenever I am shaken, I'm unshakable. Whenever the times and situations are getting hard, I remain firmly in what God has said. Even when it don't look like I'm approaching what God has said, I still have to remain in what God has said, because God has spoken to a lot of us. He has told us things, and he has given us promises. He has given us plans. He has given us all these things, and sometimes along the way of us getting from point A to point Z, we have all these alphabets in between. And when we get to maybe D, it gets a little shaky. From A to C, it was all good. I was zealous. I was on it for the Lord. But when I got to D, it got a little shaky. Well, kingdom faith, standing firm in the faith, will allow me to shake a little bit, but not be shaken. It's unwavering and unshakable. Number 3, courageous and strong. What that means is whenever it starts getting busy out here in these kingdom streets, you get active. You get active in your prayer life. You get active in you reading your constitution. You get active in speaking and saying what God is, confirming what God is in your life. It means don't take on any other garment if it's not the garment of prayer, praise, or victory. Don't put on nothing else. Don't put on doubt. Don't put on defeat. Don't put on distrust, mistrust, misplaced anything. You got to keep it moving, and you got to stay active. You have to stay vigilant in what God has said. Take what looks like a risk, knowing that you're going in the strength of God. A lot of times we are given things, and God submits things to us, and our better judgment tells us that we should not do it. Our better judgment tells us that we shouldn't risk it. But godly leadership will allow us to understand that we are going in the strength of God. It was a risk to spy out the land, but the latter, whenever we were talking about Caleb and going out, God had told Caleb to go and look at the land now that he had already promised them. Go and see it. Go look what he prepared for them. All the promises of the land. Go and see it. But others came back and they were fearful. But the latter part of that was that we're able now to walk into the promises of God. We're able to inhabit now what God said that we can have if we take those risks that God is telling us, or what we deem as risks. And all they are, they're not risks. What they are, they're directives, they're directions. He's leading us now and giving us his strength and enabling us to complete the task. Never be faint at heart, because the enemy can smell your fear. And number 4, create an atmosphere for the glory of God to be revealed. That's how we do everything in love. We have to create now an atmosphere for the glory of God to be revealed. There are a lot of things that we could be motivated by, but in godly leadership, our root and foundation is love. And we have to I guess, clarify that, because there are different types of love. But the love that God is saying that we have to exhibit and what he gave me is the lay down your life for your brother type of love that we have to have in godly leadership. Understanding that we have people that we are influencing, and we have people that are observing us. It is, I don't mind if I have to roll up my sleeves and get a little dirty to pull you out type of love. He wants us to be rooted in forget about me, what can I do to foster a service for you type of love. So that's the love that we have to be firm in, because that type of love creates the atmosphere for the glory of God to be revealed. It goes past what I feel, what I think, what I may harbor, and it goes straight to kingdom, because we have to accomplish kingdom. Yes, it is a mindset, but it's an action. It's a concept that a group of believers have to establish. In conclusion, be advised by God and godly people. Be influential after you're advised. Your skills and abilities mixed with faith, hope, love, and kingdom features all have purpose, and it's taking us all into God's promises.